Welcome back to Between Drafts. I'm Nathan,
I'm Nat.
and Nat has a physical copy of his book today.
Got it. Got the paperbacks. So we got all the files uploaded to Ingram on April 7th, I think. And then they do a review to make sure everything's going to look good.
Ingram does.
Ingram does, yes. So, you upload it in their format. They do a preliminary review. They send you page proofs in a PDF, basically, so that you can look at it on your computer and make sure everything looks right.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And then those looked good. So Scribe, my package with them included 50 paperbacks. And so they ordered those, and those got in last week sometime. And I ordered 500 hardcovers. And so those are still printing, and those will probably take another week to get here. Hopefully not much longer than that, because I'd like to get them to people around May 20th, May 22nd.
Like a week out from.
Yeah, about a week out, just to get it in pre-order people's hands early. So there's still time to pre-order and get one if you would like one. And so I need them to get to me by May 14th, 15th, kind of at the latest. So I guess I still have 2 weeks, but I'm optimistic they're gonna make it in time.
Yeah.
The Ingram process has been really good. It's one of those funny websites that looks not professional. Like, it looks really rough. It's got that like Windows 98 vibe to it, but it seems to be a really good process. And I mean, very happy with the print quality that came from it. I was comparing it to sort of like the KDP print quality, which is one of the other main places people will get their books printed, just directly through Amazon. And this definitely feels a little bit more polished, a little bit more higher quality.
It feels really good in my hand.
Yeah, the texture is really nice. The matte finish on the cover is great. The paper's great. Like, and Scribe did a very good job with the internal layout too. So I'm very pleased with how it's all come together.
It looks legit, which I think is what you were going for.
Exactly.
Right? It looks
Yeah,
like
yeah. The goal was to make it look as not self-published as possible, which I think ended up doing a really good job of.
I like this page a lot.
Yeah. The section pages are really good, and that font is great. I just love that font. I had to buy my own license to it so I could use it on the website.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which it actually, as fonts go, it wasn't terribly expensive. It was $250 to use on web and marketing assets. So I mean, $250 is still a lot of money, but fonts can get ridiculous.
I've never bought a font.
I haven't bought that many, but yeah, if you're buying one for commercial use, they can get really expensive, like thousands of dollars for a license. So pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, got the website for the series up, and that's just at Meru Initiative, MERU initiative.com. And so got that email list. We were talking about this last week, having an email list just for book stuff. So I've got that set up. That page links out to where you can get Husk from me or on Amazon. Amazon still hasn't updated the paperback and hardcover images.
Kind of asked about that.
It's so weird. I mean,
but somebody can pre-order. It just doesn't have the cover.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the cover of images. The Kindle version has the cover images, so like that's good. And the paperback has just the back cover for some reason. But yeah, you can pre-order any of the formats on Amazon right now. So those are available. So that's cool. But you don't get the bundle if you pre-order from Amazon. So there's a good reason to get it from me. And started putting a couple pieces of the wiki together as well, because I think that's kind of like a fun thing to have. It adds a bit of legitimacy, something people can go look up details in if they like forget who a character is.
I've seen a lot of authors will do the wiki in a Discord.
Yeah, the Discord I go back and forth on, because a community is a lot to manage, or it can be.
Yeah.
And my bias is that people don't want another Discord to stay on top of. But maybe they do.
Yeah. Maybe not everybody has them. Like, it's not crypto world.
Yeah, that's true. Although there are a ton of fiction ones.
Yeah.
Because not only for the authors, but also for the bookstagrammers and book talkers and booktubers. Like, they'll have Discords. But that said, I mean, if you have somebody in your Discord server and they haven't turned notifications off for it, you can literally send a ping to their phone.
Yeah, it's super valuable.
It's a really powerful marketing channel. So it might be worth setting one up. I could probably make it a little bit broader. I could make it like a sci-fi fantasy Discord based on like what I'm reading and liking. We could also just make one podcast.
Yeah. So, okay, back to getting the paperbacks in.
Yeah.
I think we've touched on this briefly, but you're doing something different with these 50 paperbacks than with the hardcovers. Like a random person can't buy this paperback. You're specifically using it for some purpose.
Yeah, so people can buy the paperbacks. They'll be
Okay.
available on Amazon. You can pre-order them, and post-launch, they'll be available on my site as well. So if you want to get a signed paperback from me, you'll be able to get one. But for these 50 that Scribe gave me, I'm basically just sending them to influencers. So people who have podcasts, people who I know from mostly Twitter.
So this is, in my head, this is a little different than what you did with Crypto Confidential, which is there you had the boxes and sent them out, everything. It looked really great, and you got a lot of promo on Twitter through it, if I remember correctly. This is not a nonfiction book. This is a sci-fi book. So how is your thinking different, or is it different at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to send them to nearly as many Twitter people because that Twitter cohort is very nonfiction focused.
For sure.
And very like business tech focused. And a lot of them do read sci-fi, and some of them are interested in it. I've reached out to a number, but a lot of them just don't read much fiction. And there's not much of a podcast pitch there either, because they do like business and tech podcasts. They don't really have fiction authors on ever. And so that hasn't been as big of a focus. Where I've been much more focused is reaching out to people on Instagram and mostly like Bookstagrammers who talk about sci-fi fantasy and seeing if I can send them a copy. And that's been starting to go well. I haven't gone too hard on it yet, but the initial reaction has been pretty positive.
Nice. Are you reaching out to people who just huge variety, people with certain level of audience, between a certain level? Because in my experience, and you're coming at it, you have like 170 something thousand followers on Instagram. So that's a huge advantage. Someone looks at your profile and it's instant credibility. Are you reaching out to folks between like 5 and 25,000 followers, 25 to 100, 100 to 250, or just everything?
Right now, just everything. And there aren't a lot of Bookstagrammers with more than, call it 150, 200,000 followers. That seems to be around where it starts to cap out. And then there are a lot in that 5 to 25K range. And so since I have a pretty solid number of followers there, I'm just reaching out to everyone. Because like you said, I have a little bit of that credibility.
For sure. If I did it in my dormant 1,200 follower account, it'd be like, well, who's this dude?
Yeah, I would, in that case, I would start much smaller and try to like work my way up. And it can be, one thing that I'll probably do is create one of those, what do they even call it on Instagram? It's like a saved story. So like you go to someone's Instagram profile and they've got a few circles below their bio of like saved stories from before.
One of the many things they stole from Snapchat.
Oh, did Snapchat do that first? Yeah. Okay. I'm too old for Snapchat. And so I think having one of those for like Husk reviews or Husk advanced copies, and then adding anybody who talks about it to that story.
Totally.
Then whenever you reach out to someone, there's like some extra social proof there already that they can see like, oh, other people have already read this and liked it. It's not somebody reaching out with like no credibility. So that combined with the follower number, I think goes a pretty long way. So I'm just starting slow, and I've got it set up now. So this is the other nice thing about doing Shopify for selling my books directly, is Shopify gets shipping discounts through UPS and FedEx and USPS and everything. And so if somebody says that they want a book, I can create an order for them in Shopify, discount it to 0, and then print a shipping label to send it to them through Shopify.
That's nice.
And so I save a bit on the shipping, and I've got like a label printer in my office now that I ordered through Shopify. It's like one click, it prints it. I slap it on a padded envelope, and I just drop them off at UPS every few days. So that's a pretty good process for getting them out. It's not as nice as having Penguin Random House mail all of them for me when I didn't have to pay anything. But for having to do it myself, it's pretty efficient. And it's like $7-8 to ship most places in the US. So again, not nothing, but it's not going to break the bank if I send all 50 of them.
Yeah, and it's if somebody posts and that post crushes, then it's $8 very well spent.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean they only have to sell half a hardcover for me to earn that $8 back, or 2 or 3 I guess 3 Kindle books, or like 1 paperback. And ideally, and what would probably happen is there would be one of them that sells like 100 copies, right? You get one very excited person on Bookstagram, they can move a lot of books.
Yeah, that's one thing we should talk about is how you're thinking about pricing when you can't bundle, because Amazon doesn't let you bundle. How you're thinking about pricing the audio, ebook, paperback, and hardback, and why.
Yes. So
I don't know if you've already thought about that.
Yeah. I've already thought about it because I had to set the prices, and I did kind of a mix of things here. So for the audiobook, I don't set the price. Amazon will automatically set that based on the length, or like the company I distribute it through gives you a recommended price based on the length, and you can adjust it.
And Amazon's very opaque about audio stuff.
Yeah.
With, like the Audible being a subscription is just weird.
It's a mess.
The whole thing is it's an extremely strange business model.
It's kind of like Kindle Unlimited, because like Kindle Unlimited, you get paid based on pages read. And so everybody's paying $10 a month for Kindle Unlimited. That's all going into a big pool.
Yep.
And then based on how many pages somebody reads of your books relative to all of the other pages read in the pool, that's what cut of the pool you get. So it's a little different than that with Audible, because people do have to use an individual credit, and then Amazon pays you based on the list price of your book when somebody uses a credit. So there is an argument for having a longer, more expensive book.
I wonder, because I feel like I've noticed I'd call it the bloating of books recently. I want a book that's shorter than 250,000 words.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to read a 250,000 word book. You got to earn that length.
That's a long book
to me.
Yeah.
But so many books are that way now. Even first books. I'm like, people,
and
what are we doing?
Supposedly that is an audiobook driven decision, because when somebody subscribes to Audible, they get 1 or 2 credits a month.
Yeah.
And they want to use those credits on a book that's going to entertain them for a long time.
Totally.
And so you can use 1 credit on Way of Kings and get 40 hours of entertainment, or you can use 1 credit on Husk and get 10 hours of entertainment.
It's one of those second order effects that it's been long enough that you're starting to see it play out, and I don't like it playing out.
Yeah. And so that's definitely, I think, become a thing, especially in trad, where they're more okay with longer books than they used to.
Yeah.
Because longer books can sell better on audio.
Even from debut authors. Sorry, man, I've never read something you've written. I'm not about to invest 30 hours.
No.
Yeah.
100K words, awesome. 120K, definitely, like safe. But once you get to that like 180 to 200K range, so like 600 plus page book, then it starts to become a little bit more of a question.
And I think you're right. I think it is driven by audio, because that's such a big percent of the market now.
Yeah.
And the margins have to be way better than anything physical.
Oh yeah, you don't have to ship anything. I mean, it's
a file.
Yeah, it's kind of like the margins on Kindle books, but you can charge way more for an audiobook than a Kindle book. So I won't control that price. For the hardcover, I set it at 32, which is a little higher than most like self-pub hardcovers, but I put it at that price because that's basically what a trad hardcover will charge. And so it's basically just like matching that, like putting it at parity.
Yep.
So that, because it's a very professionally produced hardcover, I don't see any reason to discount it, and hardcovers do cost more to produce.
Yep.
So I want that margin to make sense. I also think that hardcovers people buy more than anything because they just like having the hardcover.
I also think it serves as a price anchor on everything else.
Yes, that too. So having it at 32, the paperback is $17.99.
Looks like a great deal.
Yeah, which is like the mid-range for what a new paperback will cost. That's not like a mass market paperback.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Kindle is $4.99.
Yeah.
So the Kindle is like an awesome deal.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just so much less than the hardcover, and Amazon shows you that it's like save $27 by getting it on Kindle, and obviously I make less money,
Mm-hmm.
but that $4.99 becomes a really easy sell when it's anchored against the 32 for the hardcover.
And I really do bet if the book is good
Mm-hmm.
and I read the Kindle version, I'll often get a paperback.
Yes, I do that too. I'll always buy it on Kindle first, and then if I like it, I'll grab a paperback or a hardcover to put on my shelf
Yeah.
as like the trophy
Yeah.
or the
I do
reminder.
the same with audio. If
Yeah.
I like the audiobook, I'll get the paperback.
And that's apparently a pretty common thing too. I've seen that on Bookstagram a lot. It's
Mhm.
like I didn't read all of these books. I listened to the audiobook, and these are my audiobook trophies,
Yeah.
which is kind of a fun way to think about
Yeah.
buying the hardcovers. So those, all of that goes into it. And then the other factor, we were talking about this a bit on one of the episodes, but the way your sales with Amazon works are that you have a wholesale price
Mm-hmm.
that you're charging to Amazon, which I think is like 45% of the list price. So if I'm charging 32 for the hardcover, Amazon gets to buy it at like $15, and that's what I make,
Mm-hmm.
minus the production cost or whatever. But then Amazon has that like $17 of margin to work with,
Yeah.
and they will frequently discount books. And so by setting it at 32, there's a good chance Amazon will just discount it to like 25 or 24. And then you have the like optics of it being on sale on Amazon because they're trying to move more inventory. And that's really nice to have as well, because if you show up on Amazon, you look at the hardcover and it's like, oh, it's been discounted to $24. I'm still making the same amount of money. It looks like a really good
Right.
deal. And
It is a good
it
deal.
is a good deal, exactly. And Amazon are the ones making
And
those decisions.
It's a natural thing for you as an author to promote. Be like, hey, look, I didn't even set this deal. Amazon's got, $9 off the hardback if you want one.
Yeah. And if I had set the hardcover at 25 or something, Amazon just wouldn't have as much range to work with to do those discounts.
Yeah.
So that all of that kind of comes together, I think, to make those prices make sense for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I could always tweak them later. That is the nice thing about being able to change these things on the fly.
So it's 32, 33 for a hardback, 17, 18 for a paperback, 4 to 5 for an ebook.
Yes.
And then audio is just whatever Audible
Audio will
sets it
be,
to.
whatever they set it at, which I think will be like 22 based on the length.
Are you doing Kindle Unlimited?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So doing Kindle Unlimited for a few reasons.
So first, what is Kindle Unlimited, and then why are you doing it?
So Kindle Unlimited is a subscription you can join where
Subscription for author or reader?
for a reader.
For reader.
Yeah. So you, as a reader, you can join it.
Mm-hmm.
It's $10 a month, and then you can read as many Kindle Unlimited books as you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go on Amazon and you look at a book, it'll often say like $0 with Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
And then you can literally just one click, send it to your Kindle and start reading it. And I think there's a limit on how many books you can check out at a time using Kindle Unlimited. You have to like finish them and return them. There's some something like that you need to do. But for the most part, for $10 a month, you can read unlimited books. So for a lot of fiction in particular, they're on Kindle Unlimited, which really completely removes the barrier to entry for somebody checking your book out.
Yeah.
And a lot of my goal with Husk, with the first book, is just as far as possible, as wide of reach as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So there'd be an argument for setting the price to say like $7.99 for the Kindle, but I'm doing $4.99 because just lower barrier to entry. Kindle Unlimited, I'll probably make less per reader because if they don't finish the book, I'm not getting paid as much, but it's getting in more people's hands, right? It's just making it really, really easy for someone to pick up the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I was explaining before, the more pages of your books someone reads, the more you get paid by Kindle Unlimited at the end of the month. And that
kind of like Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like Spotify. And it's definitely the like lowest earning of all of them, but again, potential for the highest reach. And I think the thing that I have going for me is the book is pretty fast paced.
It is.
It pulls you along pretty well. And so hopefully somebody sees it on Kindle Unlimited, they download it, they read a couple chapters, and then they're like relatively hooked and want to finish the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said before, if somebody reads a book on Kindle and they like it, they might then go get the paperback or the hardcover to have it, because it'll eventually get removed from their Kindle devices.
Yeah.
So
that, and maybe they'll rate it and all that. That's
exactly.
all
Yeah, you'll get reviews and all of that. So I think it's a pretty valuable thing to do. And the thing I realized too in talking to some Bookstagrammers is that some of them said, like, you know, you don't even need to send me an ARC. Just let me know when it's available.
Kindle.
And I'll get it on Kindle Unlimited and check it out. And if I like it, I'll talk about it.
Boom.
And I was like, oh, that is actually a really good system, because I don't have to mail you anything. You don't have to pay anything.
Yep.
And if you like it, you're going to talk about it. If you don't like it, it's kind of like no harm, no foul.
I'd rather you not talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. You can actually just, you know, not mention it at all. It'd be great. You know, you lose the like photo value of them, you know, holding the book from getting book mail or whatever. But I think you get a higher chance of them like actually checking it out than you would if they had to buy it, or than you might if you sent them a physical book, if they mostly read on Kindle, which a lot of these people do.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which I get. I mean, I pretty much prefer to read on Kindle at this point. I wasn't that way for a long time, but I've really gone back to Kindle reading.
I'm still paperback, hardback, and the worst part about that is not really being able to highlight and take notes as easily.
Yeah.
With Kindle, it's super easy.
Yeah. The barriers to highlighting are definitely one frustration. The other one is just like not having the book with you all the time.
Yeah.
I read a decent amount on my phone now. And so the fact that it just syncs between all of them, being able to like pop out my phone and read a couple chapters while I'm like waiting in line or something instead of scrolling Instagram or Twitter, that's a good life improvement.
Are there any downsides to Kindle Unlimited?
Well, there's potentially foregone revenue, right? So, you know, there is a question of how many people who are getting it on Kindle Unlimited who you might only make like 20 or 50 cents from,
who would have bought the $5 version,
would have just bought the $5 Kindle, and when you would have made, you know, $3.50, right? So it needs to move a lot more copies to like make up for that difference. And so I think, you know, what I'll consider doing is just have Husk and the novella on Kindle Unlimited, and then the subsequent books I won't. Yeah. Because if you're already bought into the world, I don't need to give you as big of a discount. Totally. And so the following ones could be, you know, $7.99 on Kindle. Right. And no Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah, because you're only buying book 2 if you like book 1.
Exactly. So you're going to be much more willing to make that investment versus like expecting it to be unlimited. Now that said, there are a lot of books where the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited. I think every Dungeon Crawler Carl is on Kindle Unlimited. So still, which is surprising. Yeah, it's like it was one of the best-selling series.
I mean, something's working.
Something's working. Yeah, but also a publisher owns it now.
I wonder what that deal looked like.
Yeah. So the publisher has some reason for doing it. And I wonder how the royalties on that even work. I guess you still make the Kindle royalties for whatever they get paid on Kindle Unlimited. But you won't often see trad pubbed books on Kindle Unlimited. It's much more of a self-pub thing. And there have been like changes with Kindle Unlimited over time where like in the beginning you got paid a little bit more for somebody like finishing the book or something. So you had a lot of shorter books. And that's what like Hugh Howey was doing with all of his novellas that came together into Wool. Yeah. And that was like part of why he did that, was to like game the Kindle Unlimited payouts. But now I think it's just based off of page reads.
So we're getting the audiobook thing again.
Exactly, which is why books are getting longer now on Kindle Unlimited, because the longer your book, the more you're going to get paid by, you know, the KU pages read. So it is interesting how like the Amazon incentives directly shape the way books get written and the types of books that get written.
Pretty quickly too.
Yeah. It's kind of like our generation's version of that era of sci-fi that was magazine based.
Serialized.
Exactly. It was all serialized, like, you know, iRobot or whatever. It's really just a bunch of short stories that got squished together at
Yep.
the end. And you see remnants of that too. Like Hyperion was never serialized, but it reads like a serialized novel because
Be-
that's what was
Yeah,
popular in that era.
because it's told from what, 6 different
6 or 7
perspectives.
points of view. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the numbers on all of those play out once it's actually live and once I'm actually sending people to Amazon, being able to get those reports. It'll be really neat to be able to dig into that
Absolutely.
and see the details. It's going to be hard not to look at it like every day, right? But it will be really cool that, you know, if I see somebody talking about the book, I'll know the next day if that had a sales impact.
For your marketing brain, it's probably a lot nicer
Yeah.
to get that instant.
So much better. So much better than like, you know, the publisher system where the results are like a week lagged and you don't really get a like source breakdown. You don't really get a
Do you get a source breakdown?
no,
Yeah.
not in my Penguin dashboard.
Yeah.
It just says like this many copies were sold, and it gives me a net split of hardcover, ebook, Kindle,
Yeah.
or hardcover, ebook, audiobook, but not like day by day.
Yeah.
And so if I were moving more copies and, you know, there were more marketing things happening, I wouldn't really know what's driving what. And so it'll be nice to have that visibility for sure. But yeah, I mean, right now it's just really about like trying to get as many of these copies in people's hands who might like them and talk about them, and then hope that leads to a good launch week.
When are you going to send out the paperbacks?
I already started.
You already started.
I sent the first 3 yesterday.
Nice.
That was exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah. And I've got another like 7 or 8 addresses that I need to mail them to. And I just posted on Instagram 2 days ago or 3 days ago a picture of like a stack of books and said, who wants a book? And I didn't make it explicit that you could like DM me and I would actually send you one. But some people did. You know, they're like, oh, I'd love a copy. And I was like, cool, send me your address.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like a fun surprise. And none of these people are influencers, but it's, I think, just a nice thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, they'll hopefully be excited about it, maybe tell a friend or something. It's just like, especially in the beginning, every little bit helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was talking to Paul Millard about this yesterday for his podcast, Pathless Path, also the title of his book. And he was saying that that's how he drove a lot of sales in the beginning, was like somebody would email him saying they really liked the book, and he would just send them 2 or 3 more to like give to friends. Or somebody would say that they were giving his book away to people, and he would send them 5,
Yeah.
you know, just for free to keep giving away. Or somebody would like just ask, you know, somebody would ask for a copy and he would send it to them. He just was giving books away like one by one to anybody who seemed interested. And that compounded into a lot of books sold over time. I think he's done 60 or 70K copies now. So it can work really, really well, even to do small things like that. It's easy to get wrapped up in the like, oh, how do I get on, you know, Joe Rogan or something, you know, massive, but like you don't have to do the huge promos. The little stuff can really add up over time too.
I like that.
Yeah. And the other thing I've been surprised by too is like Twitter really hasn't driven hardly any sales, which isn't terribly surprising. You know,
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
it's mostly a nonfiction audience. And I mean, it's become kind of a cesspool in the last few months. I don't even post much there anymore.
I struggle with Twitter right now.
Yeah, I just don't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, every time I go on it, I feel like dirty or like
I'm
angry.
like, I come off it, I'm like, I got stupider.
Yeah. And I think part of it is just how the algo has changed, where you don't really see your friends' stuff as much anymore unless they're talking about the thing of the day.
Yeah.
And there's always like a new thing of the day that everybody's posting about that's taking over your feed, and it's very hard to get out of that. And I've noticed too, if you like one thing outside of that topic,
It's insane.
your whole feed becomes that topic.
Yeah.
There's just like no variance.
Yeah.
So that really hasn't returned much, but posting on Instagram is starting to. And so I'm kind of like, well,
Yeah.
maybe this is a good change. Maybe I'm just an Instagram person now, which I haven't been for 10 years,
Yeah.
but Instagram is where all the fiction readers are. And
A funny thing for me is LinkedIn drives a ton of traffic to my newsletter. And in my welcome email, I have a PS. If you like fiction, I'm releasing a book. A lot of people have gone through that flow from LinkedIn to newsletter to other newsletter about
That's cool.
fiction book,
Okay.
which is surprising.
That's really good to know.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get on LinkedIn.
Who would have thought that?
Ugh.
I know, but it's a bit of an indictment on the state of Twitter that
Yeah.
I'd much rather post on LinkedIn than Twitter.
Yeah, right.
That's a wild thing to say. That's a wild thing to say. That and Substack notes are really eating Twitter's lunch right now.
My thing with Substack notes, though, is that I think it's mostly other writers.
Oh, for sure.
And so stuff about writing does well,
Mm-hmm.
and writing memes do well.
Yep.
But whenever I post about my book, nobody interacts with it. It's this really funny thing. Like, those posts have the lowest engagement of.
Well, Twitter's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Twitter's very much the same. And to some extent, Instagram is the same too. Like, when I post Husk stuff, it gets way less engagement than if I post like a catchy book review.
Yeah.
And so that's good to know, because during launch week, I'm definitely going to do a lot of, if you like this book, you like this book. If you,
and
you know,
slide Husk in there.
Yeah. Just be very shameless, right? Like, take all of the Bookstagram, like, best hits and ones that people are looking for, and just
Play them back.
Yeah. Slide mine in there.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Yeah.
Sales.
Absolutely. I've been thinking more about the whole idea of the marketing idea of fish where the fish are swimming.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. And people love hanging out on Bookstagram.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I'm just going to hang out there.
Mm-hmm.
And YouTube. YouTube is definitely the like long play as
Yeah.
well. And I mean, we've been talking about this off and on, but I think more and more I'm just going to like restructure all of my stuff around sci-fi fantasy, mostly doing book recs, and then just talking about my stuff as it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, I'm pretty committed to this for the long haul now.
Mm-hmm.
And so do that for 10 years, and that, you know, starts to become a pretty
Good things probably happen.
good things probably happen. Yeah. You do anything with very diligent, high intention for 10 years, and you're probably going to get somewhere interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the next step of the plan. I'm excited to get the hardcovers. Very excited to get the hardcovers, because those are the ones that I'm going to give to like you and Elizabeth and anybody who like read.
And I saw these come in, and I texted you immediately. I was like, "Does that mean I get a book this week?"
And I was like, "No,
Yeah,
you're getting
it
you're getting the full professional
Yeah.
version."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. I think it'll be really fun to like have those in hand. It's gonna be a lot of boxes too.
Yeah, your office is gonna be full.
It's 30 boxes. So
Do they come on pallets?
I don't think it'll come on a pallet, because I did regular ground shipping instead of freight. So the UPS guy is just gonna hate me that day.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, who is this idiot?
Yeah. It was like I think I spent $800 on the shipping
Yeah.
for all of those,
Yeah.
which sounds like a lot, but then you break it out per book and it's
Yeah.
like $1.30. So it's like
Yeah.
not that bad,
And especially for a hardcover.
especially for
It's not.
hardcover. Yeah, exactly. Like it made sense.
Yeah. UPS does like to send bills like 8 months later. So you might
Really?
get something. Yeah.
Like-
Elizabeth ran one of those subscription box businesses for a while. It was the first business she tried to start, and she got bills from UPS for the next like 3 years.
Why?
Just random.
Like they had
shit.
undercharged her, and they
Yeah.
were, wow.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was actually kind of sketchy.
Yeah, that is very sketchy.
Because we were like, how do we verify this? There's
Yeah.
no way to verify anything.
Yeah, and you can't really risk getting your UPS account shut off.
Right.
Because
It's an essential thing.
yeah.
Yep.
That's wild. That's like monopoly extortion behavior.
Yeah, it was very much like, what are the alternatives?
Yeah. Well, that'll be Ingram's problem, because they're the
Okay.
ones who send it to me.
Yeah.
As long as I don't get that with Shopify from
Yeah.
sending these books out, that would be a bummer. But it looks like based on the labels I've been printing, you're paying per pound. And so these are all 2-pound packages, even though they're only like 1.2 or 1.3. So there is another shipping option, which is USPS has a specific category called media mail, just for shipping books and CDs. And I mean, not many people ship CDs anymore.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Yeah. But for shipping books, it's an option. And so I could look into that too, because it's like, if it would be $7.50 to do UPS, it's like $5.50 to do the media mail,
Yeah.
which, $2 isn't a crazy amount, but it is another like 10% of the cost of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually makes a pretty big difference when you look at that over, saying 1,000 books or something.
Absolutely.
USPS can be a little less reliable though, and a little slower. So
Government.
yeah, that's the downside of it. But I guess if people are ordering directly from you, they're willing to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I think.
because that's one of the reasons I pretty much exclusively order from Amazon is little Prime button means
Oh,
I
yeah.
get it tomorrow or the
You might
next
wake
day.
up and it's already there. It got
Exactly.
dropped off at 7
Yeah,
a.m.
I order it at 7 a.m. It's there by 4.
I know, it's so crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like that's when you think about the biggest tech achievements of the last 20
That's
years.
unreal.
Oh yeah, the Amazon logistics
Mm-hmm.
has got to be one of the most impressive human accomplishments in history.
I see this trend across book people where they hate Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, you guys are insane.
I know
this
it's such a love-hate relationship.
yeah, because like this company has done more for independent publishing than anywhere
Oh, yeah.
else ever.
And more for book reading,
Yeah,
and it's just like, you know, this industry wouldn't exist, self-publishing,
yeah,
if not for Amazon.
straight up, it just
Yeah.
wouldn't be possible.
No way. And people are reading more books than ever and buying more books than ever. And I
Mhm.
think, again, in part thanks to Amazon.
I agree.
It's just so easy to get books now.
Yeah.
And like, I understand that it sucks for independent bookstores, and like,
Yeah,
that's not fun. But, you know, as a reader and as an author, like at the end of the day, I want to get books and I want to sell books.
yes,
And Amazon's definitely net improved that. But I see that hate on Bookstagram a lot, which I
I do
always,
too.
yeah, which I always think is, on the one hand, a little funny, but also like good, because now maybe you'll come buy it from me directly
True.
instead of through Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I make like 3 times as much per book if you buy it through me. So I definitely prefer that.
Yeah.
I did end up increasing my shipping charge slightly.
Did you?
Yeah, because it was at $4 for the first like 200 people. And then I went and started actually printing labels this week, and I was like, $4 is like a little too low. And I tried setting it to like automatically calculate it based on.
Is that just not accurate?
No, it works, but sometimes it might be like $9. And $9 feels very different
It's a little
from.
prohibitive.
Yeah, it feels very different from like $6.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go 6, because there's another independent author who has a personal bookstore like I set up, and he charges $8 shipping per book, and that was enough where when I checked out, I was like, $8?
Like, really?
Yeah, like for a book. I mean, come on, man, that's like
Yeah.
a little much.
And now you're on the other side. You're like, wow.
I'm like, well, okay, yeah, $8 is actually kind of accurate. But six felt like a good number, where
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm eating it a little bit, but it's not so painful that you just don't order at all.
Yeah.
And I still do free shipping if you order 2 books. So adds a little incentive for that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Are you doing the? Because I saw on Twitter another nonfiction book. Nick Huber released his Sweaty Startup one, and he's doing the classic. You buy 1, you get X, 5, you get Y, 100, you get whatever.
Yeah. You
Are you?
come to Athens and play golf with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything like that?
I'm not right now. Maybe I will for book 2 or
Mhm.
for the novella, but I just didn't feel super like motivated or called to do it. And I also just wasn't sure what to do like that
I
for
agree.
fiction.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, with nonfiction, with him, it's like, okay, he can offer consulting services or his course or like these
Mhm.
other things.
And that's exactly what he did.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly what he did. And it made sense because it was a book about building a business. And so if you buy more copies, you get more help building a business.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would give away unless people just like wanted access to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like buy 3 and you can come to like a launch party on Zoom, buy 5 and you can join a private Telegram or something. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
yeah, it's weird, and it feels very like self-centered. Like,
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing anybody would care about getting to talk to me that much.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure those are very motivating
Yeah.
things.
And you might
either.
not even want to do them.
Well, yeah, there's also that, right?
Yeah.
It's just like I enjoy sitting alone in my office and writing.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy managing a community or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Discord is an interesting one. I mean, if we started, like, I don't, not to force you into this, but we could do like a combined sci-fi fantasy one that we both operate. And
A lot of people do that for like patrons, and I don't love the idea of monetizing through patrons. I kind of rather that stuff be, I don't know. Is that
no, I think patronage is a
know.
terrible business model.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think Patreon is like a good way to make money as an artist or a creator or anything. Like, okay, there's one category of creator where it works very well.
It is not.
Which is not our category. If you're outside of that category, I just haven't seen it done that well. I mean, you know, there are some where it's clearly working, like Matt Dinneman, the Dungeon Crawler Carl guy, like he has a Patreon, and I actually haven't looked at his page, so I don't know how many patrons he has. We could look it up really quickly, but I just have a hard time believing that the time spent managing that is more valuable than the time spent writing another book, with the caveat that people who are joining something like that are going to be your most vocal fans.
For sure.
And so, you know, it does feel like there might be something in there, but maybe that could just be the email list.
There's a few booktube channels I've thought about joining the Patreon just because I like their stuff so much and I'd like to support.
That's a good point.
There's two in particular, one called Mike's Book Reviews, and he's the reason I read Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio.
Cool.
And book 2 is quickly becoming like a top 5 book for me.
Like all time?
Yeah. Like
wow. Okay.
Insane read. And I've heard book 3 is better.
Great.
So that one, I'm like, I kind of just want to thank this dude for like finding this series, because he's the reason, other than the series being really good, one of the reasons that it got attention. And I think that's a cool story. I was like, oh, you know, I don't mind throwing him some money every month for that. That's dope.
Yeah.
The other's called Two to Ramble, and it's two guys who talk just book reviews, and they're really good at what they do, and I think that's cool.
Speaking of Empire of Silence, we're doing that next week, right?
Have you read it?
No, but I'll read it by next week.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm almost done.
Well, we also can do the messy middle thing.
That's true. We could do that next week too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We
we
spent a good amount of time just talking about the book pub. Yeah, we could do messy. Let's commit to doing Empire of Silence next week.
Down.
I will get it read.
Sweet.
I'm gonna finish Crawler 7 probably tonight or early tomorrow, which gives me 6 days, which should be enough time. I'm a pretty quick reader now, especially with Kindle. So, because I'm excited to dive into that. That's the other one. Like
it is a long book.
Yeah, it's like 600 pages.
Yeah,
700.
It's a slow book as well.
Yeah.
Slow burn.
Slow burn. That's fine. There was somebody on Instagram yesterday who had a pretty funny video that was like the Bookstagram bro starter pack of like, you know, you have to have read these books and talk about them to be a Bookstagram bro. And it was like Red Rising, Dungeon Crawler Carl, Mistborn, Empire of Silence.
Oh, Empire of Silence made the
cut.
Nice.
And then one that I didn't recognize, it was like something Gods, and it was a white cover with a red dragon. Yeah, I can look it up and send it to you. That was the only one I didn't recognize.
Was it Rage of Dragons? That's not something Gods, but that's a good
no,
one.
I don't think so. I'll look it up and send it to you.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh yeah, you got me pegged.
Yeah, 100%. I still haven't tried Dungeon Crawler Carl. I probably should.
Yeah. I just can't believe how quickly I'm reading them. I will say there's like, I definitely have criticisms or like critiques, but I also just like, I don't know. If I'm reading a book for fun, I kind of don't care if there are parts of it that I don't like as much. Like there's in the first book when Carl like gets into the dungeon and gets through the first little fight and then starts learning how the place works. There's literally a like 15-page info dump.
Nice.
Of just an NPC explaining to him how the dungeon works and like leveling up and inventory and whatever. And for the first few pages, I was like, okay, interesting. And then I was like, I've played video games before.
Yeah.
I was just like, skip to the end. And another reviewer was criticizing the book for that. And I was kind of like, who cares? You know, it's just like, skip ahead. You know, if it's kind of like, literally, it's like playing a video game.
Yeah.
You can read every single item, tooltip, and description.
And I never do that.
I never do that either. It's like, no, I'm just going to go bash stuff.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing with Elden Ring, is that you don't understand what's going on in the world at all unless you
Take the time.
take the time to like read descriptions of items. Like they hide history in items, and
Skyrim's similar.
yeah, Skyrim does that too. But Skyrim at least has a lot more conversations that deliver lore.
Oh, I've never played Elden Ring.
There's almost
so
no
it's-
dialogue in Elden Ring.
interesting.
Yeah, it's really disorienting in that sense. Like it doesn't tell you how to play the game.
I've heard it's the hardest game ever.
It's up there. Sekiro is harder.
Okay.
Sekiro is one of the only games I've played where I was just like, fuck this. This isn't fun. I do still want to finish it, but that one I rage quit. Elden Ring you can get through because like Elden Ring, if you can't defeat an enemy, you can go off and level up and get more powerful and come back and try again. Sekiro's on rails, so you can't do that. So you have to get through at the power level that you're at.
Yeah.
But Elden Ring is still
That's
really
tough.
hard. They also do this thing, this is my last little bit about Elden Ring, where like you come out of the tutorial area and you like, you know, get the first impression of the world and you're like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And you kind of have like some guidance to go over in this direction, but also right in front of you is this like big enemy. And there are no enemy levels in Elden Ring. So you have like no idea how powerful an enemy is.
Mm-hmm.
And this enemy is just like walking around and it looks like, oh, maybe I should go fight that guy. And you have literally a 0% chance of fighting this guy.
Yeah.
And so you have to like start the game by like hiding from him and like sneaking around. And then you can come back and fight him probably after like 10 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, that's wild.
But I didn't know that the first time I played. So I tried to fight him for like half an hour. I was like, wow, I really suck at this.
Yeah.
I went on YouTube
Yeah.
and was like, how do you do this? And they're like,
you
don't
can't.
even try. You can't. It does remind me a little bit of like playing video games when we were growing up, you know, where for like N64 or Game Boy or whatnot, where they handheld you a lot less back then. There were like fewer tutorials and things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would have to like get the game guide or something or
and figure out
like how does this actually work or go on, you know, remember cheatcodes.com?
for sure.
Yeah.
Seems like, yeah,
You like
absolutely.
read the forums to figure out how you're supposed to, you know,
Yeah.
get a picture of this Pokemon on Pokemon
Mhm.
Snap. Like that was kind of a fun period when games were a little like harder
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, last game question. Did you see the Oblivion
I
remaster?
Yes, I have not played it, but
Me
I
neither.
saw it. I mean, it blew up.
It looks incredible.
It does.
Yeah, I'm afraid to try it.
Yep.
Because
I know how much time I could spend in that world.
yeah.
Yep.
Maybe once baby's here, I'll get a Steam Deck, and then like while I'm taking a little break from writing and baby's sleeping, I'll just like play Oblivion on the Steam
Yeah,
Deck, and that'll be my vacation.
I really want to get this novella done.
Yeah.
And yeah.
yeah. I've got to finish the third draft of the novella too.
Mhm.
So, but I don't think that's going to be a terrible amount of work.
No.
So
Sometime it'd be fun to look at the notes that we give each other for drafts.
Oh, yeah.
If we can, I don't know if we could share that with people. It's probably spoilery, but
we could certainly share now some of your notes on Husk.
true.
Like once it's out, we could talk about
Yeah.
that.
That's
That'd be actually kind of a fun thing to do.
and then we could be like, you
Could
could
be mine
say
for yours when-
what was most helpful, what
Yeah.
I ignore, what was like, stuff like that.
That's a good idea. We should do that.
How we've evolved and what we want in notes and how we give notes and
We could even just do that for the episode after the book is out,
mm-hmm.
you know, on the 29th or whatever when we record. Talk about that because that'd be fun for me to look back at too.
Yeah.
I definitely have your notes saved.
Mhm.
So then we could do the same thing for Pendulum Swings when it's out.
Sweet.
All right. Well, like and subscribe if you have not. Obviously, we're on YouTube if you're not watching on YouTube.
Next week we're doing our first book in-depth
Yes.
talk review, whatever
First
you want
book
to call
club
it.
episode
Yeah.
on Empire of Silence. So
Mhm.
things we liked, writing notes, anything.
Yeah.
Talking about the
Maybe we
book.
can figure out categories we want to break it into or
Yeah, I
something.
think it's a good idea. Figure out some structure. So if you want to read along for that, then make sure you read the book by next week.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, you can find me on Instagram now,
Yeah.
Nat_Eliason, because that's my new home, I guess. That's where I live now. Or newsletter blog.nateliason.com.
Worldbuilders.ai. Need to switch that to mine.
How many weeks have you said that now?
A lot. Yeah, for real.
Or LinkedIn,
Yeah, apparently LinkedIn.
the business author.
Exactly.
All right. We'll see you all next week. Thank you.